Hey guys, it's time to Nefis and chill, and oftentimes I've been asked by actually a fair amount of players with high ping who usually reside in Australia or Southeast Asia or wherever else that's definitely not close to the ZOS servers in Texas on PCNA or wherever. Oftentimes players from those areas ask me if I can make a high ping build or a build that accommodates their high ping or unstable lag, and that's actually a very tough thing to tackle on, and by no means am I an endgame PvPer. So with the help and consultation of Pelican, who's an ESO professor for PvP, but also one of the best PvPers in the game, and plays with high ping from Southeast Asia, alongside Johnny the King, who's an ESO PvP content creator and plays with even higher ping from Australia, I want to answer some questions and give tips that players with higher ping may have or want. This video could not be possible without Pelican or JTK, so make sure to subscribe to their channels, check up on their content if you're interested in PvP on either YouTube or their Twitch channels, and learn from them. If you have any questions about PvP or other things in ESO, definitely also join the ESO Discord. We are now approaching 16,000 people in the server who now engage with each other every day in all things ESO. So before we go over some sort of tier list, or two. First things first, your playstyle as a high ping player is going to be vastly different from those who have lower ping or are living closer to the servers. Your playstyle will be anticipatory and based on predictions rather than reactionary or based on reactions. With that being said, there are so many variables. Normally that's a good thing in terms of build diversity or playstyles, but the presence of so many variables in regards to high ping or lag delay can actually limit the pool of options you may have as a high ping player. I'll be presenting two very similar but slightly different tier lists in this video. The first being based on Pelican's Asian ping, and the second being based on Johnny the King's Australian ping, which is a bit tad worse. Now let's go over the best and worst classes for those playing with high ping in PvP. Based on the Asian ping or Southeast Asian ping or wherever, basically the best classes would, for most players, would be Magicka Dragon Knight, Magicka Sorcerer, and of course with Magicka Sorcerer, this is kind of debatable in terms of your play style, but also in terms of landing streak. Stamina Necromancer is pretty good just because of how just simple and tanky it can be, which is a cushion for your high ping reactions. On the next tier below it is going to be Magicka Necromancer. Blast Bones and lag with high ping can be a bit wonky, but based on the Asian ping, it's not too bad, just like the Stam Crow. And of course, Stam DK. The Stamina Dragon Knight is also fairly solid for those with high ping. And the B tier after that is going to be Stamina Nightblade. And this is also kind of debatable, depends on playstyle and also your relative ping, because things like Incapitating Strike and other cast times can be a bit weird. C tier is going to be Magicka Templar and Stamina Sorcerer. Stamina Sorcerer can either be the worst or somewhere around this tier because it depends again on your playstyle, which is a pretty big variable. In particular, for this tier list, Stamsork isn't really using things like Dawnbreaker. They're more focused on single target with casting Meteor and landing the stun. But otherwise, if you're going with the more typical AoE based Stamina Sorcerer, that will probably move it a tier down. So the bigger problems of playing melee classes with high ping is the range. So Dragon Knights, as you've noticed, with their range passive is nice, but stuff like Mass Hysteria, Whirling Blades, Shocks, Dawnbreaker, and so forth can be pretty bad for a lot of high ping players. And that's why, we also want to focus on innate defenses. We're talking about a minimum of 30 to 32,000 health at least. Of course, Vamp Stage 3 Undeath helps a lot. And classes with burst heals are pretty nice. And compared to whatever the PvP meta may be at whatever patch, it's suggested by Johnny the King that you should probably run 200 or so recovery higher than whatever everybody else is running, because this can also compensate for your high ping. And we're going to talk about the worst one based on the Asian ping tier. Basically, it's going to be Stamina Templar, Magicka Nightblade, and Magicka Warden and Stamina Warden based on the Asian ping. Apparently landing Shocks based on Pelican's ping is not that great. Of course, there's also the matter of dizzying swing. Sometimes you can't hit it, sometimes you can. A Stamina Templar with jabs is worse than Magic Templar because Magic Templar can at least close in naturally with the toppling charge skill and then land their sweeps. But Stamina Templar, they don't exactly have that option a lot of the times, and it can be really hard to land your jabs because on your client end, you may be in front of the enemy, depending on your ping, but they may not even be there on the server side. And sort of, I'll just put a video in this video showing Pelican literally dawnbreaking somebody, Annie in this case, and not hitting him. So that's kind of a good example of why Stamplar and other skills or classes may not be a good fit for you as a high-ping player. And of course, some ultimates or general stuff that can suck. Again, really AoEs, jabs, Dawnbreaker, stuff like that. We already mentioned Whirling Blades. And that's pretty much it for the Asian Ping tier list. For the next tier list we'll be talking about, and this is based on Johnny the King's opinion and also his experience as one of the very few Australian PvPers that solo or small scale. His opinion is kind of different from Pelican's opinion and a couple other Asian players I know. So his opinion is that, yeah, Stamina Warden is not that awful. And of course, it does have that innate defensive passives. It has the burst heal. It's just simple to play, so that's pretty solid. And the A tier would be Stamina Necromancer, so pretty much the same as what we just kind of saw, because it's such a simple class overall to play. There's no real way to mess it up too hard, and again, it's innately tanky. It has nice healing, it has nice sustain to make up for whatever. In the next tier, we're going to have Magic Dragon Knight, Stamina Dragon Knight, Magic Necromancer, and Magic Templar. For the tier after that, we're going to start seeing some slightly some variation here. Stamina Nightblade, Stamina Sorcerer is a bit higher than the Asian Ping. Again, this also depends on playstyle. I can't emphasize this enough because this kept coming up a lot during our discussions. Playstyle is definitely a huge thing. Also build. There's ways to get around things in terms of builds. So there's a lot of factors here, and just take both these tier lists with a grain of salt. But in general, they have been found to be a bit easier for high ping players to handle. And the last tier on JTK's list is Magic Nightblade and Stamina Templar. I believe we also talked about Magic Sorcerer, and that tends to be somewhere on the B in the worst tier on JTK's list, because again, following the philosophy of having classes that have natural tankiness and so forth, it's not that. Again, depending on play, it's not that great for high ping players. There is an upside to having high ping, however. Before we are all doom and gloom, and it's something pretty interesting found by Pelican, and actually, the more I think about it, it makes sense. And also, when I look at others, players in PvE, especially like Swagasm, it makes sense. So your light attack ratio and your ability to light weave is actually much better than the average player innately due to your high ping. So that's kind of a little bonus on the side, served with a lot of negative factors in regards to playing PvP with very high ping. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these classes in general for you as a high ping player. If you're not a high ping player, definitely I think most of us can say, yeah, we've played with high ping sometimes, because depending on gray host or player activity and lag, sure. But imagine that constantly, right? So this is why I made the tier list, because there's no way to really make one build fits all ping size. Obviously, there's a lot of nuances here, and also just kind of a video to show that you can still PvP even if you do have high ping. One thing I also want to point out before I forget is JTK also recommends a sort of gaming VPN. In this case, he does recommend Exit Lag. And again, definitely check his channel along with Pelican's channel out after this video if you're interested in pursuing this matter further. But yeah, apparently Exit Lag is better than What the Fast, and of course, it's cheaper as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for enough and chilling, and see you guys next time.